Hold up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring cults. Exploring. Researching. Debunking. Investigating. Being nosy. Super nosy. Being messy. Being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me. The chick with ADHD. Unmedicated. But quite educated. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's start the show.
Oh, right over here. Yo. Sorry. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good morning. Good afternoon. The hair is still crazy. You know how it goes. The hair is always crazy. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? My goodness. Thank you for being here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. We have so much to review today. My goodness. You said I'm so ready for the TMZ to fall. Well, listen, we got to talk about TMZ as well. Of course, after yesterday's news, I'm still kind of recuperating from it overall. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. But letting the people get in here. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, I noticed that the mods, just so you guys are aware, in the YT chat on the channel, you can't see a wrench anymore. You see like a little moderator badge, like a badge, not a wrench anymore. So I noticed maybe there's something going on with YouTube that they're like changing the little symbols behind people and whatnot. So keep that in mind. Thank you. Well, I guess she was mentioned. There's a lot of people that are being mentioned, okay, on these Epstein files. Now, let's just say this, okay? I thought this was a good idea. I was listening a little bit to, you see wrenches? I'll show you. I was listening a little bit to BJ on the channel, right? And she was, I think it's important, right? Just because people are mentioned doesn't necessarily mean that they're in trouble of any wrongdoing. People are going to be mentioned. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about for my mods. So you see Pika's name right there. Let's see if I can just pull up the chat. Can I do that? Pop out chat. And maybe I can just show you. Let's remove that and show you the chat. Here we go. So Pika has a little badge right there. The mods do. You see some of you guys see the wrench. I see badges now. It's like a blue shield. Yeah, you see that? See, Cheeks has it too. So y'all be doing, look at that. Shout out to the chat. Chat is in the main screen. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. My goodness. Shout out to you, Franny Law. You just see the blue shield. Yeah, before it would just be like the wrench. Now it's like a blue shield. Maybe they're doing some changes with YouTube. I'm not really sure. Something's going on there. You see both? Okay, cool. Anyways, y'all aren't mods now. You're official YT officers. There you go. You're not, you're a cop badge. Cheeks is like, oh, great, a cop badge. This is not good for my image. Don't make me strip you from that badge now. Here is there. Shout out to everybody. All right, let's get it together, guys, because we have so much to review. And people will get in here when they get in here. We have to talk about a situation that has not really been covered too much here on YouTube. We've talked about it. Actually, I believe one of our channels is the only one. We tend to do that. We tend to cover stories that most channels don't want to talk about, or they don't cover, or they don't have time to cover. But this came into my radar, and I remember reporting on this. And so now we have an update. Now, put one in the chat if you have watched the movie Dances with Wolves. Isn't that a Kevin Costner? Am I making that up? It's an old movie. Dances with Wolves. Yeah, it's like a 1990s movie. Pretty sure it's Kevin Costner. Yes, it is. It is, it is, it is. I was like, I know that Kevin Costner starts in that movie. Yeah, right, right. Okay. So I want to say it was about 2 years ago. I remember talking about this. The actor, Dances with Wolves actor Nathan Chasinghorse, convicted on SA charges. And I believe this was in Nevada specifically. I remember talking about this specific case. And back then we were really, really much smaller channel at the time. So a Nevada jury on Friday convicted Dances with Wolves actor Nathan Chasinghorse of essaying Indigenous women and girls in a case that sent shockwaves through basically everywhere. I mean, everybody was surprised. Overall, but Indian country number one. The jurors in Las Vegas found Chasinghorse guilty of 13 of the 21 counts he faces. Most of the guilty verdicts centered on Chasinghorse's conduct with the victim, who was 14 when he began assaulting her. He was acquitted of some SA charges with the main victim, when the main victim was older and lived with them and his other companion. Chasinghorse, who's 49, faces a minimum of 25 years in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for March 11th, so that's coming up. He also has been charged with S crimes in other states as well as Canada. British Columbia prosecutor said Friday that once Chasinghorse has been sentenced and any appeals are finished in the U.S., they will assess next steps in their prosecution. Friday's verdict marks the climax of year-long efforts to prosecute Chasinghorse after he was arrested and indicted in 2023. I remember talking about this situation. I cannot believe that we just got a conviction overall. Now, hold up, y'all. I had to sneeze. I just didn't want to sneeze on camera. Thank you. Northern Nevada, not Southern Nevada, which is where Las Vegas is. Thank you for correcting that. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this because, like I said, I didn't see anybody talking about this at all. Friday's verdict, of course, it was first reported his arrest in 2023. Prosecutor said that Chasinghorse used his reputation as a Lakota medicine man to prey on Indigenous women and girls. As the verdict reads, Chasinghorse stood quietly. Victims and their supporters cried and hugged in the hallway while wearing yellow ribbons. The main victim declined to comment. Okay. So the deputy chief district attorney thanked the women who came forward and testified. I just hope that the people who came forward over the years and made complaints against Nathan Chasinghorse can find some peace in this. So the defense attorney plans to file a motion for a new trial and told the Associated Press he's confused and disappointed in the jury's verdicts. He said that he had some meaningful doubts about the sincerity of the accusations. So Chasinghorse was born in the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. So he is widely known for his portrayal of Smiles a lot in Kevin Costner's Oscar award-winning film Dances with Wolves. Okay, so again, this premiered back in the 1990s, and this was an 11-day trial where jurors heard all kinds of testimony and evidence and whatnot. The main accuser was 14 years old in 2012. Okay, so apparently he used his celebrity and his position in the community to inflict harm to women and children and girls, young girls in that community. It would not be the first time. Yes, we are. It would not be the first time that, we've seen this happen. These Hollyweird people use their positions of power to try to get ahead, entice, invite, coerce, control, and manipulate people into doing things that they wouldn't do, or they're not even aware of, or being groomed and whatnot. So doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he was one of the good guys in the movie or whatever. Yeah, it is what it is. But welcome everybody. You say, why is it so freaking cold here in Florida? 46 degrees. 46 degrees is cold? Wow. So let's get it together, guys, because we are going to move on to the Epstein stuff. I wanted to talk about that news because I didn't see anybody breaking it or talk about it. But, I don't know. It's like, this is not the first piece of news, and it aligns with Epstein, where we see people that are positioned in situations that are given power and whatnot, and they use that to harm others, right? Case in point, Epstein being one of them. You see somebody, in that situation, they have access and resources, and it's very easy to fall prey into things. Now, apparently, yesterday, which is what I missed, there was an interview that was dropped. I've only seen a couple interviews with Epstein. I've never really seen like a full-on interview or anything like that. But apparently, this is an interview that they kept under seal, that they wanted to hide. Now, in this interview, to be fair, I did review some of it, and there was nothing, no questions that were really pertaining to anything in terms of, the allegations or anything like that. This was, it said, a rare interview from his home, release in Epstein files not yet deleted. People are thinking that this is going to disappear and be deleted. To be fair, this is the interview that he did with Stephen Bannon. And in this interview, he is essentially, it's weird because every interview that I've seen of Epstein has been in a format of a deposition. Does that make sense? So he's having to answer to these allegations that were being made. This isn't it. He kind of portrays himself as this like misunderstood billionaire, out of sorts type of situation and whatnot. He's misunderstood. He is somebody who was invited to sit in boards and stuff like that, a finance guy type of situation, just as if like giving himself credibility, right? So Epstein here talks about being on the board of the Rockefeller University and being close to David Rockefeller. And he says that that's what led to his exposure to global power and networks and other individuals. The interview keeps poking on, how did a guy like you get there? How did a guy like you get there? Now, I'll be honest with you. When I saw this interview, and we could even see how he talks, he kind of gives me like math teacher vibes, which is, I think, what he was. Anyways, he was a teacher at some point. But you're hearing him talk, and you don't hear anything that's like, oh, it's just kind of like some boring guy, who, I don't know, bought a house and works at a school. He gives you that vibe. Then again, here we have these videos that have been released of little girls running around being chased by these grown men. Awkward, gross, and whatnot. Listen just to how he speaks, okay? Let's watch some of this.
You were head of General Motors. It was your reputation. It was who you knew, who your family was, what was your character. And then in the mid-'70s, basically, if you remember, you probably had a calculator. It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator, where it could, by putting in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots. And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced on Wall Street. A simple almost like your accountant.
Wow.
The most important parts of business were really now going to calculations. So it's not only mathematics, but it's things that could be calculated. Reputation couldn't be calculated. I could give you, are you a 10 on a reputation scale, an 8? What does it mean to have a measurement of your reputation? We'll get to that later. But places like Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world where numbers and the numbers of companies portfolio management was going to be balanced. It was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board? Potentially sit on the finance committee, Nancy Kissinger and a bunch of other people.
I'm telling you, he just seems like you said, so I got an Xbox. He just kind of gives me like regular schmegular, and I hate to put names in here, but it's like a mix of the math teacher with Mr. Rogers, maybe. No, but shout out to Mr. Rogers because I never heard any allegations against Mr. Rogers. Shout out to him, But Mr. Rogers and I don't know, like the dork next door type of vibe. Is it just me? Yeah, like a dork, like the dork next door type of situation. Stephen Bannon is a monster. There's that too. Miss Melly, thank you so much for this super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for this $1.99. Thank you for supporting the channel. So it just gives you outside of a deposition. I'm trying to think of like, have I ever really seen interviews of Epstein outside of a deposition? Yeah, Mr. Rogers was a good guy, but I'm just saying, like, he's given me like nerdy, dorky. I wear the sweaters and my humble beginnings, and I was. It just gives that. It gives you just wouldn't suspect anything from this guy, right? Which should tell you that people come from different walks of lives and whatnot. And so when they try to frame this interview of how did this guy get here, right? This angle, Epstein answers that they needed my financial expertise, okay, which essentially he's humanizing himself here, right? As far as how he got his connections. His origin story, he talks a little bit about that. He describes, he describes how he pivoted into even the smartest people don't really understand the systems and how they're built, and AI neutral nets, examples of black box behavior. So he kind of talks about, how he's ahead of his time in terms of the things that he has done. And honestly, even though he died when he died a couple years ago and whatnot, it does make you wonder, was he ahead of his time? Did he have his foot in a lot of the things that we see on the internet now? How things have been playing out, why certain algorithms do the things that they do, especially with the mathematics that goes behind there. I have to wonder what behaviors, what models did this man create that you have corporations and companies that have adopted them, so much so to integrate them in their practices, that whether it's YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever. Why are things? Did he have a footing in any of this as to why things are done and set the way that they are? I don't know, man. I have a lot of questions about that. I just do. I wonder about this. Absolutely. Now hold up. Let me see. I don't want to lose my marker. He says that most leaders don't understand finance. Okay. And he claims political leaders are financially illiterate and use basic banking concepts. Okay. The interview plays the hold up. Let me see. I took some notes. Oh, okay. 2008 crisis story. Epstein is in jail during the meltdown, the 2008 meltdown. He talks a little bit about that. He blames, this is what he blames for 2008. He blames, politically blames Bill Clinton, arguing home ownership policy and subprime expansion, government guarantees, distorted risk. He mentions government-backed mortgage entities like Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae. And he gives a lot of blame to basically the government, specifically Bill Clinton, about the 2008 situation that happened, which I'm like, okay, interesting. He says that math can't explain everything. Sometimes you have to use your soul, your intuition, and your eliteness to explain certain complexities. This is what Epstein says. All right. And then he says that I was looking to see, because I did a transcript search. Does he talk about any of the essay allegations around this time? He does not address any of the SA allegations, trafficking claims, victims' accounts, recruitment networks. He doesn't talk about his plea deal, underage victim. He doesn't talk about abuse of power or nothing like that. He really does talk about the elite connections, the intellectual image, his role in the 2008 financial crisis, his philosophical views, and overall kind of where he comes from. So I wonder if this was an interview that was set up to black PR the situation. Let's give Jeffrey Epstein a really cool image. He's kind of like one of the guys. He's just a misunderstood genius. He's a misunderstood intellectual. But in this interview is literally almost 2 hours, an hour 57:46. He is literally soft rebranding himself here. He does not take any accountability for anything, doesn't mention anything, but basically frames himself as a misunderstood genius who basically was moving around powerful circles. A misunderstood genius who moved around in powerful circles. Interesting interview. I'll tell you guys that we're not going to watch it here. But I think that it's one that definitely should be, talked about because of the people that we give, notoriety to and whatnot. People need to know what's up with these people. They do. They just do, in my opinion. Okay. So let's talk about Alex Spiro, because apparently Alex Spiro was mentioned. Now, like BJ said, and I would have to completely understand and support what she says. Just because somebody is mentioned in these files doesn't necessarily mean that they had, any dealings. I can agree with that. We don't know, right? It's the same with Harvey Levin. Even though I have my opinions about Harvey Levin, my very strong opinions, not facts, opinions, okay? I do find it funny, though, that I have yet to see an article that has been, talking about nothing, no reporting on whether Harvey Levin is going to address any of this. Did he run in these circles? Was it just a situation that he was mentioned? What is his dealings with Michael Sidrick? What's the deal with that? The black art PRs. Is this part of that? Is this the black art? What is it? The not the black art. The dark art PRs. Is this it right here too? Where you kind of sit there and you neglect to mention all this other stuff, but you make him out to be as this misunderstood genius. I have a lot of questions about that. And I think that they're legit questions to ask. But Mr. Alex Spiro, apparently, and shout out to BJ again, I saw this on her Twitter, is in the Epstein files, lawyer for Jay-Z, Mr. Beast, Elon Musk, Kim Kardashian, and more. Not only that, he's described in an email as a stone cold killer. So GITunes@gmail, which is Jeffrey Epstein's email, by the way, took Alex Spiro, his NYC partner, stone cold killer. He's a great attorney. All right. Yes. Alex Spiro and Burke, is it Burke? Both have worked with Ben and say Harvey can't handle that. He is going away for 20 years. Yes, but I like DJT. He told Ben how to fight it and made some horrific mistakes. Instead of letting the girl that was a proven fake until trial, that would have damaged all. He wanted it out in the press that she was untruthful, amateur bully. Oh man, even when you write in letters, lowercase letters and stuff like that, so hard to not fill in the blanks. So hard not to fill in the blanks about what they're talking about and whatnot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So clearly, I mean, it doesn't mean that Alex Spiro worked with them. He's mentioned as somebody who they were looking at. Stone cold killer, right? Somebody who gets in front of, allegations, especially when they're representing their clients. We've seen this done, okay? He did the whole PowerPoint presentation, the TED Talk with the PowerPoint and the little clicker, and you know, uh he broke that down for the media and we watched that, and we had a lot of questions. And I think that if you're defending your client and your client didn't do anything and you truly feel like my client didn't do anything, I have to exonerate my client not only in the court but in the court of public opinion. Yeah, he's going to do what he's going to do, but he was seen as a stone cold killer even back in what, 2018. Okay, stone cold killer. Yes, Alex Spiro both have worked with Ben, and say Harvey can't handle that he is going away for 20 years. Now, I don't know which Harvey they're referencing. Is it Harvey Levin or a different Harvey? And then it further says, yes, but like DJT, he told Ben how to fight it and made some horrific mistakes. Instead of letting the girl that was proven fake wait until trial, that would have damaged all. He wanted it out in the press that she was untruthful. Amateur bully. Thoughts and opinions. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yes, I know. That's who they were referencing. I just had to throw that out there. I'm letting y'all fill in the blanks. I'm just reading. You guys fill in the blanks. I'm just reading. It's a lot. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey. Not Harvey Levin, Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. Both work with Ben and say Harvey can't handle that he is going away for. Oh yeah, because he was going away for 20 years around that time. You're absolutely right. It is Harvey Weinstein, not the other Harvey. Amateur bully. Hoo-wee. That says a lot. I bet you, like I said, nobody ever, especially these elites, they never thought that a lot of this information would get leaked, right? Like they never really thought that any of this would have been put out there and whatnot, or that people would have said anything whatsoever at all. And I think this is, you can't get any more truthful than an email leak, right? You can't get any more truthful than when emails are put out there and people are just writing and they're reporting their things or saying their things or opening up and whatnot. You cannot get more truthful than somebody, just writing things in an email and not even thinking about whether this is going to be looked at 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. Nobody ever really thinks about that at all. You don't. You said he fought real hard. Absolutely. He didn't. You said Julie K. Brown is no hero. She befriended G. Lane, harassed Maria Farmer family for the story. I don't blame any of these Epstein victims who try to who have had to back away from a lot of this stuff. I don't, honestly. I don't blame them because it's kind of like you don't know who's really in your corner when you're exposing all these things. And the thing about Epstein is that there's no way that it's just Epstein. There were so many people behind this whole situation. So many people. Nellie Bowles. Okay. Somebody's in the chat. Why are you talking about her? What's going on? Well, she was also mentioned. I'm trying to pull my bookmark as well. Now, again, mentioned doesn't mean that she participated or anything. She was mentioned. She was mentioned. People are being mentioned in these Epstein files, right? She was a New York Times reporter for those that don't know. And people have a lot to say. They're like, what's going on? What's the deal? You know, all these people, it's because all sides are being mentioned, and I'm here for it. If all sides did something wrong, they should all be held accountable. Or if it wasn't even like that and it's just mentioned, then they're just mentioned because they had some kind of dealing business or whatever. You let the people decide how you want them to handle everything. That's what you're supposed to do instead of trying to take the narrative from people. I'm trying to pull my bookmark of this because I don't see it anymore. Did it go away? I think it did. Well, okay. Let's pull it up over here. But people have, they're entitled to their own opinion, right? Okay. Jeffrey Epstein was friends with Barry Weiss, or Barry or Barry, wife Nellie Bowles, LOL. When you and your babe back in NYC, I missed this, just figured out who you are. It's actually went great. Uh it actually went great. House NYC, which price is trying to buy the house now? On Friday, October 5th, 2018. How did it go introducing your partner to your mom? Even better than the career move. Okay. Interesting. Again, just conversations. That's all. You said lawyers protecting lawyers? MAGA curious CBS boss's wife busted with the Epstein files. I mean, like I said, some of these people are mentioned. It doesn't always mean that they're part of it, just so people are aware. Okay. Now, I don't want to share the sound, but let's get into this. The journalist and wife of CBS News MAGA adjacent editor in chief appeared in the most recently release of Epstein files, telling the Pedialyte about her personal life. Nellie Bowles told Epstein that she had introduced her new partner, now her wife, Barry, or Barry, I think it's Barry Weiss, to her family a month after apparently meeting Epstein at a townhouse. The emails show how Bowles had co-founded the Free Press with Weiss and will share in the reported 150 million for which it was bought by billionaires. Nepo baby David Ellis was in touch with Epstein when she was a New York Times reporter. The Free Press Bowles is head of strategy and a weekly columnist and describes herself as a satirist. She had described the Epstein files as an everyone thing and a problem for the elite liberals. I don't think that it's a problem for one party. I think it's a problem for everybody. I think everybody should have an issue with all these files. I do think that it's funny that Dems are trying to make Epstein files a Trump thing when the Epstein files are an everyone thing. I agree, it's an everyone thing. Not just one side or the other. I think it's an everyone thing at this point. And if we had to pick, this little piggy honestly seemed mostly to circulate in the elite lib spaces. She added. Thoughts? So journalists are appearing. Like I said, there is we talked about House and Habit yesterday. It got me curious about the House and Habit and Candace Owens drama in that situation. You know, people will selectively report on the things that they want to. They'll call out the things that they want to and whatnot. You said that explains her success. You said this is why they flooded arresting Don Lemon. So silent, independent journalists. Apparently, they have the mainstream media locked down. Are we surprised? I think, like I said, this is a problem on all sides. I agree with this, that it's not just we're only going to focus here. It's an all sides problem, right? When we adopt the narrative that it's only a one side problem, no, it's an all side problem. I think that this should matter to everyone. People get caught up in the whole political side of things. You said, I'm enjoying watching her completely tanked in CBS News, LOL. But like, if these celebrities, look, if this is a hunt for the truth, and I'm here for the hunt for the truth, right? Like, this is for the truth. This is to expose, right? I'm here for it. Nobody should be worried about whether there was an email that they were mentioned. Nobody should be worried about any of this ish, right? Thank you. It's just the loudest people about it and running whole campaigns on it. That was, I mean, let's be very real. That side did say, we're going to release the swamp. The swamp will be released. Did they not say that? Okay. But what if what if you are in the swamp? What if you've always been in the swamp? And I think people would appreciate you more, but it's always those emails from like the black PR people or whatever other situation that might be out there. It's always those people that, those emails that you think are not going to get leaked, that somehow, I mean, when they collected Epstein stuff, they collected everything, right? They collected everything. They didn't just sit there on some ish. Well, maybe we'll do this and maybe we won't. No, they collected everything. Everything. So why are people surprised? And what is that even going to look like? What is full accountability going to look like? And even when you look at like Michael Sidrick, right? Knowing that he engages in black PR and all these kind of tactics, and we talked about it yesterday with Harvey and TMZ, knowing that they're friends and they engage in this, they still seek out the guy. Let me tell you what I was doing yesterday. So after I got done going live and I was looking into this, I really got into this rabbit hole. I didn't even know this. And there's a lot of things that I don't know. But did you guys know that Michael Sidrick, okay? Let me pull some information up here because I found this and I was like, what? Ran black PR for the Catholic Church too. So when Jeffrey Epstein was seeking out for this guy, right? There's a reason why you're seeking out for him. You don't just hire him to, I don't know, talk to you on the phone. Like, this guy is reputational crisis management. It's on his website. He doesn't hide away from it whatsoever. He is out there and he will black PR a very controversial situation. He is the spin doctor and people know him because of that. And people that seek out to him know that about him, and that's what they do. So, and I started looking into like, well, has anybody ever sued this guy? Like, has there ever been situations as such? And there hasn't. There hasn't been a whole lot of like, civil lawsuits, even at that, to find out what black PR tactics he was doing. So when we talk about, black PR in social media, in the media and mainstream media, I mean, it's a real thing, but it's been a thing that it's been existing for many years, many years that people have been doing this, right? And I think somebody even said in the chat, since like the 60s, there's been a lot of black PR that has been done in certain situations. You just have to kind of wonder as an outsider that's watching this. When we're watching a celebrity crash out, let me give you an example, like Britney Spears. How much of that was black PR? How much of that was genuinely Britney Spears? And how much of that was actual black PR? That's the question that I have. When we're watching these celebrities completely spin out and spun out, whatever it may be, how much of that is black PR and how much of that is the celebrity? Don't get me wrong. I can believe that substance abuse could play an issue in that. I could believe that. I could believe that, lack of sleep. I can believe that there's maybe a lot of interpersonal situations and whatnot. How much of that plays into this whole little role of black PR? So then yesterday when we talked about Harvey Levin and these tactics that, they get into, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't shy about asking this well-known black PR guy about how to spin the story and telling him, don't bring this. We're not attacking the media. We're not doing this. We're going to play it cool with the media. Why play? You want the media on your side when you have these kinds of allegations against you, right? As an outsider, I think that would make sense. Why would you trash the media? Why would you trash anybody when you have allegations against you that keep coming up, right? So Michael Sidrick, who is a high-profile public relations and crisis communication, he has his firm, and he's very well known in these circles of the circles. Okay, very well known. I don't think I'm speaking out of anything, but you're not hiring somebody like him just to shoot the shit. There's very specific reasons why you would hire someone like that, right? So I went back and I really started just thinking out loud. I said, well, what has he done black PR for? Who exactly and what? So again, he is the Hollywood fixer, PR crisis, specializes in practices of managing media crises, sensitive reputational topics, litigation PR, high stakes communication. He is known, this black PR firm, Michael, he's known for representing controversial figures, organizations in difficult moments, from corporate disputes to SA scandals and other crises. Now, his firm was hired by the Catholic diocese, okay, to help manage public communications surrounding the SA scandal, specifically the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles. They engage in that PR firm to assist them on how to respond with the clergies and in the abuse allegations and media related crisis. And listen, I was raised Catholic. I was baptized. I was raised Catholic. We have a long lineage of Catholics, but I could be the one to tell you that wasn't handled correctly. None of that was. The silencing of that was not handled correctly. That people leverage and use God to exert and abuse others and whatnot. That's what they do. The dirty, right? Not only Hollywood PR, but they're going to get into all kinds of different PR situations. Hollywood PR, church scandals, you name it. Okay. So they got into that. The kind of engagement is typically reputational management or crisis situations, helping an institution control narratives, crafting messages, respond to media scrutiny, and try to equalize perception with reality. That is the goal of dealing with when you get black PR or any kind of crisis. You are trying to equalize perception with reality. That is some crazy ass stuff. But there is a need for it, especially in Hollywood. Right? There is a need for it in Hollywood. Said Britney Spears, two things can be going on together. Britney dealing with mental health and family associated, taking advantage for her family. That's right, Buttercup. There could be so many things can be accurate and correct about Britney Spears. There could have been a multitude of things that could have aided to what was happening to her. I am one that feels like I agree with this comment too. I can't agree that any Britney's problems are some kind of inherited weakness or character. No, I am one that believes that multiple things can come at play. I don't know how Britney, and I remember where I was at exactly. When the situation when she shaved her head and then she used that umbrella to hit the paparazzi car. Like, I remember all of that. And in my mind at that time, I remember watching this all play out, right? And I'm thinking in my mind, who in their right mind? Because you know that the paparazzi is there is to antagonize. Who sent them? If I was Britney, I probably would have had somebody investigate that. Who sent these people to me? It's one thing to deal with the paparazzi and you have people taking a bunch of pictures of you. Oh, I completely, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, but they antagonized her. They purposely antagonized her. They purposely would do things to set her up to make her go through things, right? Dr. Phil is another one. That is another God knows who pulled that demon and where did he come from? Because he literally was somebody that was antagonizing the situation, that portrayed himself to what? To be somebody that cared, and he did a whole show on that. That situation is crazy work. That guy is so, ass backwards. I don't know why people give him any kind of clout or notoriety whatsoever. And people need to wake up from that situation as well. I mean, even now. Okay, who sent him? He inserted himself in that. For what if it wasn't for the fact that there was a monetary gain to this? I agree with this. He thinks he's bigger in his head. Yeah, the paparazzi is historically. I remember with Princess Diana died under that bridge when they had that car accident and everything. Like that was like I was a kid when that happened, and I remember I didn't understand anything about the royals or anything like that, but that was like a huge deal when that happened here in the US. People talked about it too, right? And you see these two little her boys, right? Her two, now they're grown men, but these two little boys at the time, they had no parents, and I couldn't even imagine. We were kind of around the same age, not having my mom or dad. And then to know that that accident might have been caused by these paparazzi, that was awful. That was awful. They had to get away. They sped off, and then they had a horrific car accident. These are things that you just don't. How do you get over that? These paparazzis, it's one thing, that this is your job and you're taking pictures, but the extent that they would take things out there. And some people have been part of that shit too for the longest time, whether they're taking pictures or making up things. I didn't even know like just how deep some of this went. You know what I mean? You said you were in Greece when that happened. I was with my cousin. It's always about the money. Yeah, the accident. I don't think it was an accident, but that's just my thought. You said Harvey is 75 years old and has been around a long time. Gay been with his partner since the 90s. Recent parent. He became a parent in 2024. Well, okay. Congratulations to Harvey. You said all of that was her dealing with pressures of her stardom. Britney thought she could go out in public like you and I do, not fully grasping her own fame. I would agree with that. I don't think she understood what her own fame was, but also I don't blame her. Like to me, it's like I don't all her life, as a little girl, she's had to have deal with this ish where, she's having to get away from these people as a child and not getting a break in between. This woman has never had any normalcy, even as a mother, her children were waved to her like carrots. And I'm not saying that she was the perfect mother. Hell, look at the example that she had. I'm sorry. We learn by what we're given, right? This is sometimes like, it's like, when you come from a horrific home life, I know of my own friends, my own family members who say, you know what? I don't want to do what my parents did to me. So I'm going to do better. And then they try to, when you're in that situation where you're trying to do better than what you were given, you're literally in a situation where you're proving yourself 3 or 4 times and you're killing yourself trying to show that you are so much better than what you were given in life that you're going to make sure that your kids are well taken care of, right? She wasn't given that. She wasn't like as a mom. You know what I mean? Like one after another, and the people don't even understand what having a child really does to you. We take this as an event. Everybody's got babies, y'all. Like a baby can really mess up with your brain too, chemically, psychologically. People go through changes. Women do. Hormones are a thing. It's a very serious and dangerous time when you're pregnant because of all the crap that happens to you. And not only that, and then ensuring that your baby is okay and everything's going well. I mean, it's a real thing. It can mess with you. So that's what I'm like. Then she had 2 so shortly after. And then what does she have to do? She can't fucking rely on her mom because her mom's all about the money. Her sister is also, a shithole of a person too, who knows what the hell is going on. Like, who do you rely on? Who do you trust? And then you meet this guy who I think she genuinely was in love with him until she wasn't, until she realized who the fuck he was. And, people will say, well, Kevin, I've heard people really genuinely defend Kevin. really genuinely defend Kevin Federline in the way and say, well, you guys have been brainwashed by Britney and everything. I'm sorry. Nothing that anybody says to defend that guy is ever going to make me think any different than the piece of trash ass person that he is. Even now. Even now. Here you go. Nothing that even now. Because you wait for your kids to be like you have to write a memoir of this. You're done with their money. I can't think of anything else. Nobody writes shit for free, guys. Nobody does. Nobody does anything for free. I'm sorry. I know people were reviewing the book and I thought about reviewing it and I said, I cannot in my right mind, I cannot read this book and not feel some type of way about this man. This man has been taken care of for the last, I don't know, since those kids were born. Okay? He's been taken care of. And he might be a good dad. Don't get me wrong, right? Because I don't know what his job is. I mean, maybe he had all this time to really, take care of his kids. He might be a really good dad. But to me, he was always a shit-ass person. Always a shit-ass person. Showed up to be a shit-ass person. Signed up for the shit-ass thing that happened to Britney Spears. Nobody's ever going to tell me different. Somebody who was really in your corner would never do you that way. Never. But yes, you said the world turned off Axis after Bush and Gore. Future time travelers at the inflection point. Ooh, you said he's definitely a POS, but everyone knew that he left his wife for Britney. Yeah, we all knew it. We all knew it. And it sucks to be somehow connected with this whole situation. Now, here's my question: who owns TMZ? I know that Harvey Levin is the founder, but I thought it was Rupert Murdoch, right? And isn't Rupert Murdoch being sued by Trump over the Times investigation with the birthday card and everything? Like Trump sued the shit out of is suing various outlets. I'm pretty sure, yes, like Harvey Levin is the founder of TMZ. Don't get me wrong, but let me see who actually owns TMZ. I want to say it was the Fox Corporation. Okay, so Fox Corporation, TMZ was founded by Harvey Levin. Okay, I'm not taking that, but it's the Fox Corporation who owns TMZ, and who owns Fox? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's Rupert Murdoch. Who owns Fox? The Murdoch family. Yep. So they own Fox Corporation, 21st Century Fox, Fox Entertainment Group. They own all of that. They own all those businesses. So Trump is suing Rupert Murdoch for that stuff that happened over the summer. Y'all remember when they were releasing all that? Keeping that, yeah. So all of these people, this is the crazy part, is all of these people are somehow interconnected, interweb, interlinked. Like they are all a connection of they're connected, right? So to me, it's just, I find it so interesting that it's like what the DOJ is releasing are things that are literally calling these people out. You're calling these people out for, and throwing this out there and exposing this. But they're still running these companies. They're still very well there and aware of everything that's going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy work. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You said Murdoch. That's right. Murdoch owns Fox Propaganda too. I mean, remember Jason Alexander? I do remember when she married Jason Alexander. And that was like a marriage that was like less than 24 hours that happened. That happened as well. I mean, he's suing a lot of people, honestly. But specifically, I find it funny that like this is all DOJ related documents. But I think it's important to note that these corporations, the TMZs, the Fox and stuff, there's always an agenda. And the sad part of this situation is that a lot of us that are blogging, that do this full time, that are paid bloggers, right? When we're running stories and stuff like that, We don't have that kind of backing or corporation to do research for us, to do different things for us. And I find it just mighty interesting that they're all connected. There's not one web that's not connected to the other, either through an affiliation or through a news anchor or a journalist or a Harvey Levin or a celebrity here and there. Like they're all in this crap one way or another. You can't make this ish up. And people, I don't know, what is there to look away from? I mean, this is just the reality of it. This is just what it is. To try to deny or to try to excuse behaviors when a lot of us weren't there, solely because your favorite politician is mentioned or celebrity or whatever, that's ridiculous. Guys, it's the reality is that these people are, they get down with the get down, okay? They may paint a really good picture here to us, especially when they need to get elected or they need something from us or they're reporting a story. But the reality is that the files speak for themselves. You determine, you pick your poison when it comes to this ish. That's what it is. You pick your poison when it comes to this. That's what it comes down to. Pick your poison. They said they weren't close to Epstein. New documents show otherwise. Material released by the Justice Department revealed that leading business and political figures had enduring, can't even read, enduring relationships with disgraced Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So they said they didn't really know Jeffrey Epstein that well. They were disgusted by him right off the bat. They were just drawn to his intellect or love of science or business acumen. They didn't know about his abuse of women and girls. Yet we have a lot of disturbing videos out there. You know, Prince Andrew is mighty Prince Andrew is just so quiet right now. Is it just me, or like have you guys noticed just how quiet he is? Did something happen? I mean, was there more release of stuff with Jeffrey Epstein, or like he's just so quiet right now? All of them. That's why we have to stop fighting each other. Can I tell you guys that? That's why we need to stop fighting each other. We're never going to agree with things politically. We all have different walks of life, but we really need to stop fighting each other and find the thing that brings things into perspective. That many of us do not agree that children should be abused. When people wake up and realize we need to stop fighting each other, we need to stop going after each other's throats. That's when we're going to get further. We're going to understand the bigger agenda. So many things are working, you know, so many things are working against us in so many ways. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to think. They want to explain to us what is blatantly obvious right in front of us. And then gaslight us about the situation when all of us are smart enough to make a determination about what we're seeing right in front of our face, right in front of our eyes. It's playing right there. We need to stop allowing these people to divide us. We need to stop allowing these people to put us in situations where we can't agree on something. I'm so over this shit, like honestly. And I see it every day, every day, every day. And it doesn't matter because one side is just as bad as the other. We've all been sleeping with the enemy since birth. And if you are a spiritual believer, if you believe in God, I believe in God. Some of you guys might not. That's absolutely fine. I don't think God wanted us to do this to each other. That's why we shouldn't fight. These people don't give an ish about us. They don't. They really don't. It's about power, money, wealth, possessions, positions, all kinds of stuff. Prince Andrew, selectively very quiet, right? Right now, because, there's that video and oh my goodness, Prince Andrew. I mean, he's going to need some black PR. He's going to need to call Michael. Michael, come to the front of the class. Prince Andrew needs you because, there's just so much happening right now with the situationship right now, right? I mean, the royal scandal. What appears, this is just like the most disturbing shit I've ever seen in my life. Photos released in Epstein files appear to show Andrew on all fours over females. Where is the lizard lady that was defending this, this guy? Where's the lizard lady? How are you going to spin this? Are you going to say this is a setup and this is fake? It's been buried in the files because she did it to Virginia Giuffre, right? That photo with Maxwell, Prince Andrew, and Virginia, who was like, I think 17 at the time, they're sitting. She literally went to the house where this picture was taken to try to discredit Virginia. That's what she did. That's what she did to try to defend this ugly turtle looking guy, like literally. Why? She went to the house. She was on Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan, you're part of the problem too, by the way. She went to Piers Morgan trying to discredit Virginia, right? So how are you going to say, oh, the floorboards, they're fake, guys. They're fake. They're so fake. I'm so ready for somebody to say something about this being fake too. Yes, up and even the day that she died. The day that she died, we were live, guys. We were live. Look, I want to say, I remember this shit, okay? Yeah, he looks like a snapping turtle. Sorry, y'all. Snapping turtle activities here. Look, the day that she died, even before I want to say it was like 2 weeks before she died, she had that accident, right? And we were reporting on it. We were talking about it, okay? And people, have had their thoughts about Virginia. Some people have felt like she wasn't the most honest person. It is what it is. People felt some type of way. Virginia herself has had some struggles that she had even said so, right? She owned up to those struggles. She never denied those struggles. And I can respect her for that. She was living on her own in this property. Okay. She was going through like a divorce. There was a lot of ish going on in her life. Her kids weren't talking to her. There was so much going on in her life at that time. Okay. And it was literally last year, if I remember correctly, like wasn't that long ago when all of this went down. And, people were like, yeah, and I can understand that the information was convoluted about whether she was hit by a bus, the accident and whatnot. She was in the hospital. There was a lot of concerns and thoughts about that picture. Okay. Then a couple weeks, maybe days later, not even that long, she dies. Her family finds her in this property that she was living on her own. Okay. Family finds her. That lady, the lizard, Lady Virginia, whatever the hell her name is, she was one of the ones that was always pushing back on Virginia Giuffre, even on that the bus accident. The day that she died, the lizard lady, made a post on social media. It was so horrible. Like she hasn't even been buried. She died that day. And said something, and I'd have to pull it. She removed it right away because she got a lot of backlash over that shit. She just had to, she removed it. I'm pretty sure I screenshotted it and I have it somewhere on my phone. My phone keeps all the screenshots. Listen. And it was almost like she was celebrating her death or something like that. It was a horrific post. A couple days later, Pierce Morgan does his show, right? And invites her. And Pierce Morgan interviews the family about Virginia's death and everything that had transpired. I have questions about Virginia's death. I feel like the girl always had a target on her back. Always. Okay. That lady Virginia Harvey, is that her name? I think that's her name. She went up there and she was just discrediting and doing, it was just ridiculous what she was doing. I'm like, lady, you would go to bat for this guy. They weren't even together anymore. How is she going to explain this? Is she going to say that Prince Andrew was set up somehow? Somehow this is a setup all over again? I cannot. I cannot. I don't know what to make of it. You know, I wasn't there in anything, but all of these people that have said, I was not involved, I wasn't there, or I wasn't mentioned, including bloggers, harassing victims. And I thought about this yesterday when I did my House and Habit video, and it was just like, listen, if I don't believe somebody's story, I'll probably do a video on it. And I'll tell you guys logically why I don't believe somebody's story. This doesn't make sense. I have some, and I've done it before. If there is something that I have not believed, you know, that came out of a victim, because half of you guys know that I'm at that. I'm of the belief that you have to wait for the information to come out for there to be, you know, a thorough investigation and stuff like that before you just blatantly believe everybody. Even though a lot of us that, you know, are empaths, we want to always believe victims, and you are going to have people that no matter 1000%, you're always going to believe victims. For me, that hasn't always worked out in terms of when you're fact finding, because guess what, guys? Unfortunately, people do lie. Okay. People do make mistakes in their memory. People forget things and people fill in the blanks. And then there's the people that lie. So many things can be true at the same time when it comes to a situation like that, right? So I've always been of the belief that you hear everything when it comes out. And I can give you a video, and I'll do a video, and I've done it before where I've talked about, you know, I'm struggling with this one. I don't believe this. Let me tell you why I don't believe this. Here are the facts. It doesn't make sense, yada, yada, yada. And the chat or you guys will push back, but you'll still hear that. But you're never going to see a video of me literally trying to harass to the point where somebody has to call the FBI hotline because they're a victim of a notorious serial assayer who's had many connections to people. And they're having to report because they can't get me to stop. So now they have to contact the FBI. That's too much. One thing to give commentary, it's another thing to completely harass and take the shit left. Like, you just don't do that. So when I saw that House and Habit had been mentioned in these FBI things, and I was like, damn, to go that to that extent. And then that kind of aligns itself to the Candace Owens drama. And you guys know I'm not a fan of Candace Owens, please note. Like, it is what it is. But I didn't know that when Candace was doing her expose of Weinstein, why she felt like Weinstein was innocent. I don't believe that either. I don't believe any of that. But, you know, she had a very compelling argument or whatever. House and Habit had an issue with that because House and Habit is friends with one of the victims of Weinstein. So you can't have it both ways, right? If you're going to report a story, tell it what it is and tell what your concerns are. But just because somebody's your friend doesn't mean that you're only going to report it one way and not the other. So when I heard that, I said, oh, okay. And then I'm seeing these Epstein files and all this other stuff and free Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm not for freeing. Fuck no. Free who? The lady's a madam. She shouldn't be the only one in there. Should be many people in there. Many people should be in there along with her. And I do agree. Why is it just her? Why is it only the woman that's serving time for many crimes that she might have assisted with, But she's not the only one. She's not. Especially here on the social media streets, some people don't even do the research and speak facts. That's why with the JCM push, I think we need to wait too, right? Is it possible that that call that came, I think it came in, what was it, 2018? I think it was 2018 or 20, I can't remember. 2019. We talked about it yesterday. We don't know. They might have been mentioned. Does it mean they had something to do with it? We don't know. It needs to be investigated. Somebody got mad that I said we don't know, it needs to be investigated, and said, you're spreading misinformation. They are involved. Shit, well, damn. Okay. So you can't appease everybody. You can't. When the Diddy trial, let me give you guys an example. Some of you guys felt some type of way, and I said this, and I'll say it again. The Diddy trial happened. Before we got to the trial, some of us, I'll speak for myself, I'm thinking we're about to have a trial about the white parties, about all the things that people said happened at these white parties, and all these celebrities that are going to be involved. And there were some celebrities involved in the RICO case. But what did we find out about the Diddy trial? The RICO specifically. There were very specific there were very specific victims, right? Victims. Had nothing to do with sacrificing goats, sacrificing birds, or anything. They had nothing to do with any of that. It was literally a man who was an SA addict. Okay, he was an addict, and he was abusing his girlfriend, and he was doing all kinds of things, and then setting her up with all these prostitutes. That's what the Diddy trial was about. But tell me, people made this issue about something else, and so then when we were facing this, and I told you guys, even in a live stream, I said, guys, we were wrong. We thought that the Diddy trial was going to be X, Y, and Z. Then we're looking at the evidence. We're looking at the transcripts of what people were saying and what was actually happening there. And this is why I tell you, even though we had so many civil lawsuits, I think well over 150 lawsuits, civil lawsuits on Diddy, I could tell you this for a fact now. I don't know if I believe half of those people that said anything in those lawsuits. Because when we run this idea that everybody's always telling us the truth about something that happened, we miss and lose the plot, and that actually impacts victims, real victims, in the long run. It actually impacts people that are believed and that are not believed. And some people didn't like me saying that. I just don't see things in a black and white sphere that way. I think it's important to note that. We have to recognize that. Not everybody that's mentioned here is going to be guilty. Hell, even Harvey Levin, even though I have my opinions and I do believe that, Harvey Levin's and TMZ moves a certain way because they can and they have, the resources to do it, right? The simple fact that you have this email with this PR guy who's saying, I have a friend, his name is Harvey, Harvey Levin, he runs TMZ, I can help you with that. It's the simple fact that that is even a conversation tells me that Harvey Levin is someone, in my opinion, that's known to do different stories and run different stories and change the narratives of different stories. We're going to have that. I'm not surprised that the elites and the rich and the famous and the political sphere and the religious sphere is somehow entangled with media, because what do we eat every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? As much as we shouldn't, we eat social media. I bet you that the 350 people here in this chat, you have at least looked at your phone one time today to figure out what is going on social media. I bet you. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's an entanglement there. However, Harvey's allowed to defend himself. Harvey's allowed to say, guys, yes, I was mentioned, even though he hasn't done it, which I just find it. Let me see. TMZ, Epstein files, let's see. Nothing. DOJ releases 3 million pages. That's TMZ former Prince Andrew photograph. I mean, they're willing to put this out here. That was 5 hours ago. But they have yet to mention how Harvey Levin, founder of TMZ, has been mentioned in an email. Right? You say you were right, Rabbit. A lot of those who attempted to sue knew what was going on and went there knowing the expectations. It didn't end up how they hoped. He is still a monster regardless. That's true. he could still be Diddy. Could still be Diddy. Diddy, I don't think is a good person. I think Diddy is somebody who's, in my opinion, hasn't been. I think that his dealings have been very dark. 1000% agree with that. Did y'all hit the like button, by the way, please? And thank you. The Sean Combs trial was drastically overblown. I would agree with this. One lawsuit against him in New York was moved to New Jersey because the lawsuit was unlawful. And then the plaintiff said actually it happened in Jersey. The buildup to the Diddy trial. You guys were here for it. I mean, historically, I will say that, I wasn't there at the building, but I could honestly, I could attest to the social media build up to it because we lived it for 6 weeks. We were here live every day. Every day was something new. And every day we were ready and we were looking into inner city press and other sources to tell us what's going on. And we were here every day because this was the monumental historic time, right? That after years of so many rumors and all of this speculation, ultimately it became about what? People, victims that were in a relationship with this man that were being prostituted out for this man's, pleasure. That's what it was. Right? That's what it was. She's trying to tell us to always look deep in all the directions of possibility between the lines in the stories compared with the reasoning and the evidence to understand the right considerations. You talking about me? That's when I always say look between everything. Yeah. People, in my opinion, that I would like to think, because I am one of those people, and I know some of you guys might be those people too. Sometimes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Nobody decides, like, I didn't wake up one day and say, all right, I'm going to go to school and study stuff, right? Like, I didn't just, like, there was a reason for that. Some of you guys, they get yourselves into fields or work in government or in nonprofits or volunteer. You don't just decide to just wake up one day and say, I'm going to volunteer. You literally, there's something more to that in my experience, right? And so I would like to think that the people that run this country started in a place where they wanted to make a difference, whatever it was that was something that they wanted to do. Is that true about everybody? Probably not. Probably not. But I would like to think that people start from somewhere. I have worked in government for 10 plus years, and I could tell you that it is very easy. Not only is it very top heavy, but it's very easy for the mission and the vision to get lost, especially for those individuals that are working there, right? Where suddenly it doesn't even become about that. It becomes about the climb up, the climb up, the climb up. Because the more climb up that you do, the more, money you make. And then you start climbing up so far up there that you're so detached from the people that pay you. You are 35 layers removed. And then you don't even recognize why you got yourself up there in the first place. You start making decisions and policies and things that don't affect you. And I've said this word before because you are structurally insulated from that. You are structurally insulated. The higher you go up there, yet you're the one making the decisions for the bottom. The higher you go up there, you are structurally insulated from those policies and decisions and bills and things that you're working together in collaboration with people to make. You're the one signing them off, but that doesn't affect you, right? It doesn't affect you. And that's the problem that I see even now today when we rely on these celebrities to tell us who to vote for and why who gives a fuck about a Nicki Minaj. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sorry. I like her music, cool. But to me, Her issues are not my issues. They're not your issues. They're not anybody else's issues. The reality is that she's going to sit where the money resides. That's what it is. She's going to sit with the money, what protects her, what protects her brand. She's going to go look out for her. That's not for me, not for you, not for anybody else. She's going to look out for her. So what I'm saying is that we pay attention to these celebrities and they're ingrained in this Epstein shit more so than anybody else. So yeah, it worries me. It makes me upset because we have all these rules and policies that people make, but they're far removed from it. How much somebody gets in TANF does not affect a Nicki Minaj. How much somebody gets in TANF does not affect a celebrity. They just sit there and they sign off to the things, get paid to endorse and all this other shit. When the politics shit comes around and these people are asking for people to vote, and then they hire the Meg Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's, and all these people to show up, to dance, to do their music, none of that matters because what I eat, if I don't get benefits, which I don't, but if that happens, and that's a lot of people do, my WIC card or whatever it may be, even though you have Meg Thee Stallion performing, it doesn't matter to her. She's only there getting paid to perform and do the things that's what she does. She's an artist. Okay? All of these celebrities are structurally insulated from any financial repercussions, any of the policies that they are flirting with. They don't get it. They did at one point before their first million, but they don't get it now. So we can't relate. With this shit right here with the Epstein stuff, we can relate. Why? Because some of those victims were high school kids, some of which were recruited from some of the high schools that you guys attended. We're talking about D4VD, his access to these high schools and stuff like that. Astound. I get it. But celebrities have access, especially when they perform in these high schools, right? Recruitment is a real thing. But I don't rely on these celebrities to tell me anything. And I don't rely on any of these people. They're too insulated from the consequences of any of these policies that they sign up for, even the president. A lot of these political people are too insulated to actually feel the consequence of signing off on a policy. They don't get it. They never will. Once they hit their millions, it's F you and let me make my next song, and everybody's going to buy this shit. And that's the part that people need to wake up from. And it took me a while to get there. It took me a while to get there. I like their music. But they don't give a fuck about me, and they don't give a fuck about you. That's just the reality of it. Just how it is. The struggle is all real. The struggle is all real. You said Nicki Minaj is only about herself, like most of those, everybody, a hyper selfish and psychopathic greed. They earn their millions, man. Maybe that's what it is. Once you earn your first million, you're not affected by the things that people up there do. You're not. You can buy yourself out of situations. You can remove yourself out of situations. Even before Trump became president, he taught us that. I used to like Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before he became president, I used to enjoy. I thought he was hilarious. I'm like, I'm here for it. I used to love Celebrity Apprentice, right? But if there's one thing that all of this has taught me, right, even with him being in office, whether you like him or not, whatever it may be, what I learned is that the more money you have, the more far removed you are from those things, from these consequences, from these things. Okay. None of these people ever have to worry about paying rent or paying this or paying or any of that. They just don't. That's the reality of it. Why? And nobody's ever going to tell you that. It's just how it is. Yeah, I used to love The Apprentice, and I was like, oh Lord have mercy. But it was a good show. I will say that it was a good show when it was around. And now I'm just like, I can't see this show anymore because I was just like, does the White House run this way? You're fired. And it just like I would imagine that be I don't think that that's how it's run, it's reality TV, but like I said, it feels like we're all in our own little Truman show to a certain degree. One thing after another and we can't catch a break sometimes. That's just how it is. Can't catch a break. That's just how it is. But ultimately, the Epstein stuff really does matter in the long run. It's funny to me how the people that were yelling the loudest of, we're not that close. They're somehow mentioned in an email or intertwined or spoken about. They're mentioned to this man as somebody who could do something or somebody who should align themselves with something. And you know that Epstein like was no joke. I mean, even this interview that is a couple years old, you know, I'm looking at him speak and I'm like, this is probably somebody that I would probably talk to. He's probably asking me for directions or maybe he's a math teacher and I'm thinking he seems like a kind of a dorky kind of okay guy, but never in my mind would I think that he would be into some dark-ish. Even Ghislaine, right? The girl that's with him. All these people. Elon, who was like one of the first people who was pushing for these files to be released and whatnot, right? Mr. Musk wrote that Mr. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused. There's a saying in Mexico. Some of you guys might know it. Dime con quién te juntas. I've said it before. Dime con quién te juntas y te diré quién eres. It's a very famous saying in Mexico. Dime con quién te juntas y te diré quién eres. Tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. So my mom used to tell me this saying all the time. Tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. Type of saying, right? And it doesn't mean that you're like all for the situation that people are doing because sometimes we just don't know, right? We don't know or anything like that. Shit happens. But it speaks to him knowing that there's an island. There's an island. He used to invite me to the island. Well, what's in the island? I refused to go. Why'd you refuse to go? Elon, better yet, why didn't you report it? Elon, better yet, why didn't you tell people? Elon, better yet, why didn't you do anything about it with your billions? I hear crickets. But the documents released on Friday suggest that Mr. Musk was at one point eager to visit. What day and time will be the wildest party on your island? Mr. Musk emailed Mr. Epstein in November of 2012. Bill Gates. Melinda, we talked about this yesterday. Melinda was like, I didn't like him hanging out with Bill hanging out with Epstein, it just didn't sit well with me. This guy right here, he was trying to get me to go to the island, but I refused. And yet here's an email in 2012. Not you lying to us. They lied. Crazy. Mr. Musk wrote Saturday in his social media post, I had very little correspondence with Epstein. Of course. And declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly in his Lolita Express. But was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. What was misinterpreted? What day/night will be the wildest party on your island? I don't know how that would be misinterpreted. Let's see. Maybe there's a typo. or something, because like this is pretty straightforward English to me, especially when it's like written English. What in an email, what day/night will be the wildest party on your island? I could see where things get misinterpreted, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes the language, you know, English is my second language, so it fails me. I could definitely read, he meant to say, what day and night will the wildest church party be at? I don't know, or a sermon. I don't know. Mr. Musk emailed. This is Elon emails to Epstein. And Elon's like, listen, people are going to misinterpret what I said. Yes, because we don't know how to read. On a podcast last year, there was, let's see, hold up. I'm going to try to review some of this because this is a lot. Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, described being so revolted by a mid-2000s visits to Mr. Epstein's Manhattan mansion as he decided to never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Oh my goodness. An assistant to Mr. Epstein let her forward Mr. Howard's message for Mr. Epstein. Nice seeing you, it said. I think that people are just trying to appease us instead of just standing in the things that they have done and said. Richard Branson, 2013 email exchange with British billionaire Richard Branson hinted that he too had a familiar relationship with Mr. Epstein. It was really nice seeing you yesterday, Mr. Branson wrote. At any time you're in the area, would love to see you as long as you bring your, is it harms? Hems? What is that? Let me look that up. See, I'm telling you, man, the English language always does a number on me. Oh, let me pronounce it correctly. Harems. Harem. Excuse me, harem. I knew that's word. Harem. There you go. Harem. Thank you. But they didn't know each other. They don't communicate. They don't do nothing. They just happen to be hanging out together, right? I didn't go on that plane. Well, he's planning to fly there on his own. Yeah, he has his own island, right? Thank you, JT. Appreciate you. Richard Branson has his own island, pretty sure, because he's got that kind of money. There was a lot of bankers involved too. I want to know who the bankers are. I mean, there was bankers that were being sued around that time. Yeah, there was a lot of bankers and whatnot. Lots and lots of bankers, a lot of intertwining. The rich people community seems very small. It wouldn't surprise me that they were all entangled with each other. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. How the get down gets down. People making payments. It's crazy. Chase, yep. There's a lot of banks, and there was a lot of lawsuits with those banks too, right? So there's that. I think people just need to wake up and understand that, I guess we shouldn't be surprised whatsoever with any of this. And Harvey, look at this shit. Look at this. The only people, and this isn't even like a reputable, I don't think. Times News Now. This isn't reputable. Harvey isn't talking about it. Harvey Levin and Epstein files. Why the TMZ founder was called good friend by Mike Sidrick. Now they're picking it up, but please note that it was the Twitter people and the YouTubers that were talking about this yesterday. Harvey Levin, the founder of TMZ News, is named in the email included in a newly released documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein convicted as offender. In the email, we read the email. I tried to call you. Harvey Levin, who runs TMZ, is a good friend. They haven't reported on this at all. We read this. Okay, with the leaking to British press. There's no allegations of wrongdoing against Harvey, and the documents do not suggest that he was involved in any criminal activity. Okay, true. It doesn't suggest that, but it does say his name, which, like I said, very interesting. Harvey, you're not talking about Jay-Z, and you're not talking about yourself, and you're not talking about any of this, and this is all your time. All of it. But we're expecting these people to respond to criticism. That's crazy work. And this is one of those articles that's like a nothing, like they don't, some of them are talking about it, but not all of them. The truth can never be suppressed. Now it's time to shine, says just by Karma. I agree. Money talks, BS walks. Yeah. You're right, when the elite are scared, there's a lot of tape that gets built around them. I would agree. When they are scared, there is a lot of tape that is built around them, a lot of taking care of, a lot of different things and whatnot. But like I said, I'm so surprised that the only people that are speaking on this continues to be YouTubers and the Twitter. Somebody says, wouldn't it be funny if TMZ broke the news? And they didn't. Come on, TMZ, don't act like you don't see this. Don't act like you don't. And they've been tagged and retagged, guys. They need to stop acting like they don't see any of this that's going on. People know we're talking about them. That's the thing. And it's funny because I'll never forget there was when we talk about Celeste Rivas, they have this little like the blog thing, right? They have one here on YouTube. They have a little blog thing. Well, some of those people that were like hosts, they were saying, some people are attacking us for misinformation. We're just reporting the news, yada, yada, yada. So they know that people talk about TMZ. Some of these people know, they just ignore it. They do. I guess if you look away, just don't strain your neck when you're looking away. If you look away, it'll go away. Maybe. Potentially. It'll go away. You just can't make this ish up. You said, when I was younger, I wanted to pursue working in the government and perhaps become a lawyer and take that path. I remember my dad telling me to be careful, telling me carefully think about that and not get changed by that. Yeah. People, I think, legit go into government wanting really good intentions. I don't think that everybody, like I said, I don't think that everybody is in it in a bad way. I think what happens is that the more that you climb up, the more you realize the expectation is of you. And there is a level of secrecy, right? Privacy that you have to give and that you have to, hold. You can't just go out there, divulging a bunch of information about things and stuff like that. It just doesn't work that way. Government doesn't work that way. As you go up, and that's where people become detached. I think people then realize that, you climb up, you don't connect with the people. You don't connect where you came from anymore. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. You said, I imagine a young politician with honest intentions meeting the swamp that is in Washington. Imagine having to survive that, though, right? And if you don't survive that, you just don't belong. You're not one of them. You said, yeah, that's because the institution is responsible for the employee who, while they held that position there. Everybody has a price. Yeah, the house of cards. It's more true than fiction. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. When you hold an institution accountable for the employee's actions, you force them to have a better process when it comes to oversight. Yeah. When you hold an institution accountable, hold them as a whole, not just some of it. Oh, and I got the sitter calling me. All right. Well, hold up. Let me shout out Buttercup. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you, Buttercup. Guys, make sure you guys are hitting that like button, please, and thank you. I'm gonna let you guys go because I gotta go tend to baby bunny. Give me one sec. Hold up. One sec, guys. I want a happy meal. I want a happy meal. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys are amazing. Thank you for those that supported today. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, please, and thank you. Share. Thank you. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys. And if anything else breaks, we'll be live. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.